we're going to go over some of the more technical aspects of some of the financial details. And really, attention to details really does matter, especially on these instruments. You have to know the definitions and the terminology. So there's a whole series of money market instruments that are out there. Most banks will carry this. Credit unions even have these. They're short-term debt securities that trade in liquid markets. So it depends what it is. So low-risk investments with low return. These are like a step up from basically a CD, a certificate deposit at a bank, but they're low. They pay better than nothing at all. And there's different aspects of things that you can get on them. Treasury bills, they're auctioned off every single Tuesday by the Federal Reserve. You have certificates of deposit, and you also have a critter called commercial paper, where companies have gone out and they've gotten loans of some type, and they actually have a loan and you actually buy the paper, so to speak, in regards to that. T-bills are actually issued, they're called T-bills or treasury bills. They're issued by the US government, and you'll have different aspects of what they are. And you'll see bills and bonds and the whole gamut where they auction them off every single Tuesday, and people watch the auction. And a lot of the different financial markets depend upon this. And this is how the Federal Reserve goes and controls the money supply overall. Now, that's an economic part, except for our part, the investment part is how much does it pay back to you? Now, it depends what you're going to get. If you're going to get government aspects, I've done this before in the aspect of, I looked at T-bills, and T-bills pay X amount of money. I went and I bought some off-brand government securities like Department of Agriculture. They have bills too, except those bills pay about 3/8 to sometimes almost 0.5% more than a T-bill. So I was buying the off-brand types of government stuff, and you know what? It's all the same government. It's not as cute as saying, "Oh, I got a T-bill," and instead of saying, "I got an agricultural bill." So it's not as cool, except for the fact it pays more money at the end of the day. That's what the game is all about. So repurchase agreements, sell a security, it's going to be repurchased at a set date for a set price. Whenever you have that repurchase agreement, and as it gets closer to that agreement, you'll see the price comes closer and closer to the amount that's on the face of the value. Negotiable or jumbo CDs, they're issued by commercial banks for big, large units. And then commercial paper is issued by corporations. So you'll see different facets of it. Some of it's available, some of it's not. I've never been able to buy commercial paper or even seen it offered. It just depends where you're at. Some of the most interesting things and the most volatile and most dangerous items you can buy are derivatives. Now, a derivative is not that complex. It derives its value from something else other than it. So that being said, you have futures and options. So when it comes to an option, you'll see that the option is nothing more than the ability to purchase or sell an item such as stock at a certain price. But it's not the option itself. So it's deriving its value from a different thing. Futures derive their value from whatever future they're selling. So we call those financial derivatives. So it's a binding agreement to buy or sell something in the future at a certain price. So that being said, speculators, they buy and sell the future contracts. They make money on the changes in prices of the contract. So if you want to buy this aspect over here, you purchase this, I'm going to be able to buy this for $100 a share. Well, right now, that stock is selling for $90 a share. So really, if it's $90 and the chance of it not hitting $100 is pretty good, okay, you may get that really a lot cheaper, except all of a sudden there's a chance by a certain date that all of a sudden, boom, it goes past 100 and it's selling for $110 a share. All of a sudden now you say, I'm going to exercise this, boom, and all of a sudden you buy it for $100 and then turn around and sell it the same day, you make $10 a share. That's the cool thing about futures contracts. So that it really is a big thing. Now, commodities actually take really the aspect of the commodity itself. It's a process that, okay, I don't own the commodity itself, but I'm going to bet on the price of it being at this rate. So it's an exchange there. So you can buy this with little cash. You can buy it on margin if you want to. You can buy and sell contracts to buy or sell that commodity at a certain price. And so sometimes when you buy the commodity, it's on what we call the long side. And when you sell it, it's on the short side. So keep the terminology in mind. We talk about a futures contracts. Options is the right to buy or sell stock at a specific time during a specific length of time. So you buy it for X amount of weeks, X amount of months typically, okay, and I'm going to buy this and I'm going to be able to have the right to sit down and sell it here. And if I can sell it there and the price drops below that, then all of a sudden I don't want it. But if I can sell it here, okay, and it's higher, then all of a sudden now I make money off that process. So you don't own the stock, you have the right to buy or sell the stock. It's called an option. It's a risky investment because sometimes the option expires but you lose the opportunity to use it. So that's the danger of it. You may buy an option and it just goes by the wayside and you just burn money for nothing in the process. But every once in a while, you sit down there, you buy an option, you take that risk, and boom, something really strange happens and the stock skyrockets. You have a right to buy it for a fraction of the price and you make a huge amount of money. Obviously, the more risk, the more opportunity is to make more money, which is what the actual financial integrity of the market will actually show you. You also have the foreign exchange market. It really is the largest market in the world. You'll see these a lot of times when you exchange one currency for another. And sometimes they change from day to day. I was in another country and I was using their pound, and I went in and I exchanged US dollars for this, and I got a really good deal. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, I go back in exactly the same bank. I actually had the same teller on top of that. I actually got more money for the American currency that I had. So you'll see the foreign exchange will drift even on the same day, even within a few hours. You don't make a lot of money in the process, except if you go by volume, you can make a huge amount of money. So that being said, you'll see day-to-day variations between the Egyptian pound, the English pound, the yuan versus the US dollar, and people make money on the differences a lot of times based upon time zones, or if that country is waking up at a certain time, you'll see variations based upon time. So money markets, futures, and options, we're going to cover them in more detail, but it's really, we call these derivatives in the market because they derive their value from another thing that's not them. Hopefully that made sense. But the idea of being able to buy something at a set price, and that's an option for you, is kind of a cool thing and also terrifying all at the same time. That's what makes investing fun or terrifying. I think it's one and the same thing. Anyway, take care.